Hi, this is Kivi Leroux Miller. I'm here with Robert Rosenthal, the Vice President for Marketing and Communications with VolunteerMatch at Southwest. Hey, Robert.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about VolunteerMatch's current content strategy and with some of the changes you've been making recently.
Well, we're the web's largest network for volunteer engagement, and we work with very diverse audiences, including obviously nonprofits that recruit volunteers, individuals who want to volunteer, and then also a lot of people don't know, a lot of companies that want to engage their consumers or their employees in the volunteer opportunities at nonprofits that we support. So a big challenge for us is how do we reach those audiences on the limited budget of a small nonprofit organization. For us, the biggest shift over the last few years has really been about moving away from paid media and instead producing our own content designed to really pull audiences towards us. Part of it, yes, is because as a mission-based organization, we're driven to really get information about volunteer engagement out into the public sphere, but a lot of it also has to do with us really thinking through how are we going to acquire the customers, the audiences that we ultimately want to serve as an organization.
You've got two pretty different audiences there between the nonprofits and the corporate sector, and I know communicating with multiple audiences is a big challenge for most nonprofits, so how are you managing that?
Well, the biggest secret has been to hire really talented people who have some skills in those areas. But ultimately you have to take a step back before you get that far and really think through what are the needs of those audiences. How can you be useful for them and produce things that will draw them to you? And for us it was about recognizing that our specialty, the world of volunteer engagement, isn't really all that well understood by either nonprofits or corporations that want to make a difference. We realized there was a gap, and our first instinct was to fill that gap. Over time, I think we've learned how to be a little bit more sophisticated about how we cover that and what we release. The biggest changes have really been about capturing data about those readers, and also shifting to more multimedia production. So instead of my team writing content all day long, we're also producing videos, we're producing webcasts and white papers and other types of pillar content.
Do you really treat them as two different kinds of communication strategies, or is there much overlap between the two?
There's less overlap than you would think. You know, imagine the needs of an executive at a Fortune 1000 company, and then imagine the needs of someone who manages volunteers at a small nonprofit organization. While they might both work with the word volunteer somewhere in their job description, ultimately they report completely differently about the success of their programs. They have completely different styles of management. In one case it might be completely ad hoc, like the average small nonprofit. In the other case, like a corporation, this might be driven by a multi-million-dollar social responsibility objective. So we've tried over the years to figure out ways that those audiences can cross over, and as a nonprofit, we really do want to germinate that kind of audience crossover. But when it comes to really serving their needs, what we're finding is that more often than not, they're completely satisfied learning about volunteer engagement from their community of peers rather than crossing over to different audiences. So for example, if you come to our blog for nonprofits, volunteeringiscsr.org, all that content there really is for nonprofits. And while we may occasionally say, here's what a great company is doing to help you with volunteer engagement, primarily we're writing content for the nonprofit sector. Same thing with our corporate blog, volunteeringiscsr.org. Again, it's all about the needs and challenges of corporations and CSR executives and people who manage volunteer programs for employees.
Great. Thanks so much for sharing your experience, Robert.
Thanks.